Michigan State football could be set to be the conference's most improved team, and it's not just me saying it. No, it's other Big Ten coaches.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans. It's your team in green and white 5 days a week. And shout out to all you everyday listeners right here in the Locked On Podcast Network. Guys, please rate, review, subscribe, comment below if you think Michigan State will be the conference's most improved team in 2025. We're going to get to that in the first segment. And then, yes, we're going to get to these allegations about Mel Tucker's recruiting that Michigan State is still dealing with right now. And then at the very end, where does Tom Izzo, how about the other guy? Where does Mark Dantonio rank amongst this century's top college football coaches? But guys, just like we said, we're going to get it started with, hey, what did other Big Ten programs and their coaches have to say about our Michigan State Spartans? Because Athlon Sports, yes, it's that time of year, guys. One of my favorite parts of the offseason. They have their piece where other personnel, other coaches speak anonymously about other programs in the conference. And it's pretty candid. More years than not. You know, it's not just, hey, every coach is just buttering the biscuit of every other team and they're just all talking nice to each other to make sure they stay on the other coach's Christmas card list. Like, no, there's some straight talk with a lot of these. But guys, Michigan State had 5 quotes in this Athlon piece said about them, and this one caught my eye the most. It was, quote, if you're looking for a most improved program this season, these guys might be it. Hey, all right, there we go. Now, I will say one reason that you could be the most improved team is, unfortunately, that you left yourself room for improvement. But really, let's just answer this question literally. Like, who else could be the most improved team in the Big Ten from last year to this year? Just quantifying it with wins. Like, yeah, Purdue had 1 win last season. Can they jump, win 4 or 5 games? Yeah, they absolutely could, but there's a lot of questions to be answered in West Lafayette. Now, Maryland, Northwestern, they're 2 teams that only had 4 wins last year, and then joining Michigan State in the 5-win category is Wisconsin. It was also UCLA. Got all these teams are going to have question marks, just like our Michigan State Spartans. But what we do know about Michigan State and why they could be the most improved team on paper going into this year, and hopefully by the end, it's not just on paper, but it's actually on the field, is, guys, like that offense. I'm not saying they're going to be world-beating. I'm not saying they're going to be the top 3 offense in the Big Ten, but they have everything that they can to just be average. And if you're an average offense in East Lansing, well, that means that it's going to be the first time in 3 seasons where you're scoring more than 20 points per game. And that could really bode well here for our Michigan State Spartans here, guys. Like Aidan Chiles, yes, you get another year out of him. Now, more on him later, or if you want even more Aidan Chiles talk, guys, we talked a lot about him and the jumps that he can make on last week's shows. Plural. We did it a few times, and we will continue to do it. But yes, this isn't just your young guy. First year as a starter, he's a super raw athlete, and he's just learning what he can and cannot do with the ball early on in the season. No, he's going to be hopefully a little more refined, but with that raw talent that you saw last year. Now, outside of that, guys, if you're an everyday listener of this podcast, you've heard me say this many times about the offensive line, but they're going to be experienced. All right, they're going to have something they didn't have last year, and that is depth behind the starters. Now, it's still all up in the air just how good the starting unit can actually be. We're hopeful that Stanton Ramel, as a redshirt sophomore, can take leaps and bounds from where he was last year, getting so many reps as a redshirt freshman starting at left tackle. They got 2 great transfers, Connor Moore, Matt Golban. But, guys, it's just who is behind them, because behind the starters, I mean, there are 8 guys with FBS experience behind just the starters. And the whole room as a whole, guys, we're looking at 12 guys with FBS football experience. That's not even counting Connor Moore, a guy that was an FCS All-American at Montana State last year. That's not counting a guy like Caleb Carter, another FCS guy. Thousands of snaps, though, in his history. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater or be an all Big Ten lineman, but still, You're getting guys with experience that's only going to raise the floor of the offensive line. And if you watch Michigan State last year, in just about every game, except the Iowa game, they look great in the Iowa game. But if you watch any other game, you would notice that, a lot of these issues for Michigan State start up front on the offensive line. Now, wide receiver, it's not going to be a mystery as to why they're going to take a step forward. It's year 2 of Nick Marsh. Omari Kelly, who produced really well at a high level for Middle Tennessee State last year, he comes to Michigan State. And by the way, depending on what rumors you do and don't want to believe, but the ones that I kept hearing over and over again is that, man, Omari Kelly, he seems to be balling out in spring practice this year now. This could be because he is just a straight-up good player. He did start his career at Auburn after all. He did come in with a pretty high pedigree. Did it just take a while for it to blossom? Perhaps. Now, the other hand of that could be that, our secondary could be a little wobbly, and maybe that's why everyone's looking good so far this spring, but we'll talk about the defense here in a little bit. Ideally, guys, this season, Jonathan Smith, Brian Lindgren can hopefully run the offense that they really want to run, which is more running the football, more physicality, not be so skewed towards passing the ball more, even with a talented quarterback, and then not being able to run. Guys, they just weren't able to run last year. I like to think that they threw the ball in 50% of passing plays last year was just because Aidan Chiles has that dynamic of an arm. And yes, while that's true, I think the staff wants to shift more to like a 55% run, 45 pass kind of split, because that's what he did at Oregon State. That's what he said he wanted to do here in the introductory press conference. He wants to establish this identity. You weren't able to do it with the issues you had in offensive line last year. The run game never got off the ground. Everything they did this year in the portal on offense wasn't just to help Aidan Chiles, make his life even better, but also establish a run game, something we haven't seen here in East Lansing on a consistent basis since our guy Kenneth Walker was doing it in 2021. And speaking of surrounding Aidan Chiles with everything, guys, they brought in his quarterback coach, Jon Boyer, from Oregon State last year. Aidan Chiles said, quote, "the best thing that's ever happened in my life" earlier. I know we've said that quote a few times in the show, but man, that just keeps echoing throughout the entire offseason. I truly wonder if that alone is going to be enough to kind of just raise the floor of where Chiles left last season. Guys, also the schedule is a little bit nicer. You're not going to get Ohio State and Oregon within 6 days of one another. I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk in the Big Ten. It never will be a cakewalk in this 18-team conference, but it sets up a little friendlier than it did last year. You start at home 3 games in a row. Okay, your first road game at USC. That's not easy. But after that is a bye week before your next road game. I'm just saying, this is not a murderer's row where you're looking at the whole month of October wondering if you're going to win a single game before the season even starts. So I do like that for Michigan State. Now, where things get a little murky here, where we're going to start wondering if we're going to trust what that coach is saying, that Michigan State can be the most improved team. Or, hey, this is another one too, is that there was a quote here from Aslan as well that was, quote, "a bowl is definitely possible for them this year, and the roster is going to be better overall." For offense, yes. For defense, I don't know, maybe. There's definitely no shortage of bodies in the secondary. They added what seems to be a dozen guys, it felt like, in the transfer portal, guys from high-level FCS play, guys that played really strong at independent teams like Malcolm Bell over at UConn. The linebacker core, yes, it could be more athletic this year. Could that translate to better linebacker play? And what I mean by that, I'll just stop being so coy about it, is that you lose Kyle Halladay, a guy that didn't even just involve himself in Michigan State's pro day because he knew that football was not going to be in his future. Like, between the ears, cerebrally, one of the better players out there, always had his teammates lined up correctly. He started all 4 years here for a reason, guys. But also, wow, were we a little athletically limited there. No matter who it is taking over, yes, it will be Jordan Hall most likely at the middle linebacker position, but who takes over for Hall at the strong side? The athleticism gets ramped up. Will that be a good payoff here for Michigan State? Trading Cal Halladay's brains for just maybe a quicker guy, a guy that's better in pass coverage? To be determined. Or, hey, how about the guys in front of the linebackers? The front 4. Truly have no idea what to expect there, guys. Would love to say defiantly that, yes, they should be better, but that transfer portal haul, well, he got some names. Not a lot of substance there so far. It's a lot of risk taking. It's a lot of gambling on some young guys that, hey, yes, they're going to be project pieces. They're going to be depth pieces, but you need one of those guys to ball out here. So we'll see, guys. There's a few more quotes that I do want to get to from this Athlon piece about Michigan State football, but really quick, just need to talk your ears off about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, oh, golly gee willikers, where did all my money go? What's going on here? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, guys. I get it. And that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Now, Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building your wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. And now, guys, I'm budgeting smarter and I'm saving even more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Guys, it's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Again, I'll say it one more time, guys. monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So 3 more anonymous quotes I just want to run through a little quicker on this one. We won't spend too much time getting my thoughts on here. But the first one, Aidan Chiles was doing too much last year. They made a staff change and brought in one of his guys, and I think that can help. So it's not just, hopefully your favorite podcaster or at least one of your top 5 favorite. I'll even settle for top 10 favorite podcasters. It's not just me saying that over and over again and how it's going to make a difference. It's not just me falling in love with that quote of Aidan Chiles saying that. Again, Jon Boyer, the quarterback coach from Oregon State, coming over here to Michigan State, being one of the best things, if not the best thing that's ever happened in his life. It's not just us putting stock in there for no reason. Like, other coaches notice how much personnel does impact a player, how much familiarity, comfort, whatever word you want to use, can really impact a quarterback. So you watched the clip, or maybe you didn't. I mean, this was tweeted out from Michigan State football a few weeks ago while practice was still going on in East Lansing. But it really seemed like they had a true connection here. Jon Boyer just giving him straight talk, telling him, hey, you got to be comfortable getting rid of the ball on your first read if it's open immediately. So, look at what this also does, too, gives Brian Lindgren more time to focus on other parts of the offense. And it is no secret that there were some other parts of the offense last year that needed a little bit more love. So, look, there's no more limit on coaches you can have in the staff in college football. They said, all right, bring in Jon Boyer. This is going to be only good things for Michigan State. So, yes, we'll see if it's going to be a big difference. But I think it will be, and clearly that other Big Ten coach thinks it will be too. Another quote, Jonathan Smith is applying a very steady plan here. They're not going to make a huge splash. They're just going to improve steadily. He's got a blueprint that worked out for him at Oregon State, and that's why I'm still on the Jonathan Smith train right now. Look, I've said as much last week during the whole Corey mockery thing that I'm not entirely convinced that the recruiting is or ever will be at a state that will work out long term. But was it ever like that at Oregon State when he was building a really respectable, if not solid, to good program in Corvallis? Not necessarily. So he's doing it his way. He's doing it slow. He's doing it steady, which really bothers a lot of people in this day and age of college football where it is just instant turnarounds. I must see results right now. But we saw it over the course of what? It took him 3 years to get it going at Oregon State, 4 years. I still believe. I'll believe until I see it not work out here. But yes, there is a method to the madness here. It is slow. It is methodical, but it is going to be on the way up here. And the last one we're going to get to, guys, this is what we ended last segment on, talking about the issues with the defense. And, yeah, it's not just you. It's not just me worried about it. And how can you not be at least a little reluctant to buy it all in? Quote, they need a lot of work on defense, specifically the line and the secondary. At corner, and the running game was pretty mediocre for them last year. But they've done a really solid job with transfers, and they're still building their high school recruiting out. That high school recruiting does need to be built out. I don't just want to walk by that and say, like, it's not important whatsoever. Even if you don't get, your highly ranked kids, you got to flesh out your position groups so you're able to go in the transfer portal, not like this year needing to completely remodel 3 position groups. But let's say you get to a spot where, okay, there's enough bodies here in all these rooms. We really just need to go all in at defensive end, for example, or you can put more resources into just 1 or 2 position groups. Unlike this year where they had to address offensive line, an entirely new wide receiver room, an entirely new defensive secondary room, like to go along with the rush end issue too. The high school recruiting does impact later on what your portal strategy will be. And hopefully that can get off the ground here in a little bit. Now, speaking of recruiting here, Mel Tucker, the gift that keeps on giving here in East Lansing, guys. Yes, we are going to talk about this. Notice of allegations by the NCAA posted on April 29th for recruiting violations under Mel Tucker. Now, why are we kicking off the show with this? Why are we burying this? Are we trying to protect Michigan State here and only talk about the good things? Yeah, clearly on this show, we only talk about the good things that happen. No, the reason is because we still don't know a lot. That's what's going on here with Mel Tucker. But here is what we do know. With not even allegations, because Michigan State was the one that reported these. These were self-reported violations. So here's what we do know. Michigan State, 90 days to respond to the NCAA, and it seems to be that they're going to go for the written hearing route, meaning that there is a limited disagreement to the level and the punishments from the NCAA. So it seems like they're kind of close on agreeing that they're talking about the same thing. And anyway, there are recruiting violations. We do know that. Of course, there was a lot of other extracurricular stuff that happened under Mel Tucker, but this all pertains to just recruiting violations. Now, Michigan State, they self-reported these, not after they fired Mel Tucker, but this actually happened in August. They even fired Mel Tucker. This is how early Michigan State reported all of these, and it kind of goes over a span of 2020 to 2023. Now, Michigan State, they are in full cooperation, which you can do as a program. I know that not every program, especially in this conference, maybe even the state, adheres to what we're saying here, but you can cooperate with the NCAA. You don't have to go defiantly screaming the word bet over and over again, or just keep on naming some random food over and over again. You can actually help your own cause here, admit some faults, and then, hey, you know what? Maybe by way of some cooperation, come to terms and come to a conclusion that, yes, is a punishment, but also in the lens of reality, gets everyone skipping on their merry way out of here with little to no real scars that you're left with. I could be talking about any other program there. Anyway, Michigan State, here's the last thing that we do know is that they're kind of really digging their feet in the sand here at the whole, well, this happened with the previous head coach and the previous staff thing, which I mean, not even as a Michigan State fan, just someone with a brain that actually works, I think there's some credence to that. So Matt Larson, he's the head of communications for Michigan State Athletic Department. He's an associate AD, I think. He's a big wig at the athletic department. His quote is, Michigan State Athletics has cooperated with the NCAA to review a potential matter concerning the football program under the former staff and will continue to do so for the duration of the process. So again, just want to highlight that, under the former staff. President Kevin Guskowitz at an editorial board with the Detroit News back in April, he spoke with them. He said that he's aware of it. They've been in contact with the NCAA, and he also hammered that point home that, yes, this is the previous staff. Why should we be punished when those guys aren't even around? Why would we serve a postseason ban, for example, or a scholarship limit or a fine when no one from that staff is really even here anymore? Yes, there's a few guys, but I don't know. I don't think like Courtney Hawkins is like the driving force behind all these recruiting violations. Whatever. So what don't we know that we're still kind of waiting for is, well, yeah, what the violations actually were. Are they a level 1 violation? Are they a level 2 violation? And what punishment is on the line here? If it is a level 1, I mean, we're looking at show causes for these coaches, which again, most of them are no longer here. You're looking at fines. You could be looking at scholarship limits. Who's to say what's going to happen here? But yeah, and just what the violations actually were. How in this day and age of college football do you get popped for skirting rules? I'm not reporting anything right now. I'm not even doing the thing where like, oh, I heard a little rumor and this could be it. I'm truly just allow me to go back here and just like speak from just an old friend that you're having a conversation with at a bar, just speculating. Right? This is a really good thing to do right now, but I do go back to those recruiting visits, not even the commits, but the visits. And it was just 4- and 5-star palooza on campus. And if we're dealing with potential level 1 or level 2 violations, were any of those kids on campus just because for maybe a little more than the fact that they like Mel Tucker? Was there kickbacks going on? It could highly be possible. Or I don't know, was the whole goat on the field photo shoot like not to be deemed as safe for the animals? The pancakes in the Samson Okunlola photo shoot, were they not FDA approved? I don't know. Did Mel Tucker carjack all those Lamborghinis on the field during those photo shoots? I don't know. I truly could be a grab bag of anything, but it's hopefully not going to shut Michigan State's program down. I am interested to see what's going to happen here, but if I know anything about anything, it's going to be that, yeah, the NCAA, despite the fact that this staff is no longer even here, that they will strike their hammer down and Michigan State will have 80 scholarships taken from them for the next 5 years. I don't know. I'm excited for this to all be over. And once it is over, once we do get clarity on what actually happened, yeah, we'll definitely kick off more shows with all this fun here. Now, speaking of recruiting, guys, it is kind of the start of official visit season, even though that calendar is starting to get more blurred in this day and age of college football here. But June is where a lot of kids take their official visits. So just to give everyone a quick primer of what to expect this weekend, well, let's just get into it because a lot of names will be subtracted and added. We'll get definitely a way more concrete preview going into this upcoming weekend of official visits than right now. But hey, guys, 10 guys right now, as it stands right now, 10 guys are coming in this Friday to East Lansing. That is going to be headlined by 4-star and also commit tight end Eddie Whiting. Now, just to go through the names really quick here, 3-star Kalai Kelly from Honolulu, Hawaii. You got 3-star Corey House. You got Braden Thomas. You have Colin Campbell, who's an offensive tackle, very high 3-star offensive tackle. So that would be a good one to get Colin Campbell on campus. Braylon Hodge, you got Jeremiah Favorite, Kelsey DeRiso, and also Facile. I'm not even going to try to say his first name, but that's a defensive end over there. And then 3-star wide receiver Elijah West. So that is 10 names coming on campus for this opening weekend right now. And this is interesting. I don't remember this happening all too often, but there is going to be a crop of kids here coming on campus starting Monday. Depending on when you listen to this episode, 6 days from now, Monday. Usually it's reserved for weekends. But guys, this could be the headliner of the entire June official visit cycle here, visiting on Monday. 4-star defensive end Carter Gooden, and not even just 4-star defensive end, top 100 kid, would be the gem of Michigan State's class and a lot of other classes if he was to commit anywhere else. But all eyes on Carter Gooden starting next Monday. We'll get more information on him with Gregory Smith, recruiting expert of Rivals, who is set to join the show later this week. But also joining Carter Gooden is also another highly rated defensive end, David Schwarzel, still penciled in to visit next week. I know there's some riffraff going on there. Some people are saying he is still visiting. Some are saying he's not, so stay tuned to all that. But also 3-star cornerback Jackson Gates, who is a Syracuse commit. 3-star interior offensive lineman Adrian Hamilton, and then 3-star offensive tackle Justin Morales here. So, yeah, that's a robust start to the official visit season. 10 guys this weekend, and then up to 5 visiting on Monday, including, like we said, guys, Carter Gooden. So that's going to be a tough battle. But as we know, as we've been talking about, there's not a lot of 4-star firepower here, even visiting Michigan State's campus this month. I think Carter and Eddie Whiting are just 2, as of right now, 4 or 5 4-stars even visiting in June right now. Now, of course, subject to change. Guys could drop their names out. 4-stars can add their names in. It's a very fluid situation here in official visit season. But yes, as we tow our way towards June, that is where things are right now. Now, guys, we're going to end the show here talking about good old Mark Dantonio, because the other week, or I guess I should say the other day, this isn't too old, The Athletic, they came out with their top 25 greatest coaches of the century, and your Michigan State legend, Mark Dantonio, he is in the top 25. He ranks in at number 21, guys. So they list his accomplishments: 3 Big Ten championships, 1 college football playoff appearance, 2 BCS wins, 6 top 15 finishes, 6 double-digit win seasons. And they also had a nice little write-up on him that we're going to go through right now. Dantonio took over a floundering MSU program in 2007 and turned it into one of the Big Ten's best. He won the school's first Big Ten title in more than 2 decades. The 2013 team that won the Rose Bowl might have won a national championship if the college football playoff had existed. Dantonio also won 4 consecutive games against Michigan, the first time the Spartans have done that since the early 1960s. But like several other coaches on this list, the final few years were below the standard he set, with 1 top 25 finish in his last 4 seasons, including a 3-9 record on the heels of the college football playoff appearance. The consistency was similar to Ferentz, Kirk Ferentz of Iowa, that is, of course, but the highs were higher, including a win over Ferentz in the 2015 Big Ten title game. Now, Kirk Ferentz, he also got in on this list. He is at 22, but is 21 just right for Mark Dantonio? Is it too high? Is it too low? Guys, if you ask me, a dyed-in-the-wool Mark Dantonio disciple, of course I'm going to say that's like way too low of a ranking. Like, he deserves to be in the top 20, I think. And yeah, I know damn well there's a lot of good coaches here that have coached college football this century. And let's just go through who's in front of him really quick, guys. Number 20, Lincoln Riley. Number 19, Kyle Whittingham. Number 18, Mark Richt. Number 17, Les Miles. Number 16, James Franklin. Number 15, Gary Peterson. Number 14, Frank Beamer. Number 13, Jimbo Fisher. Number 12, Brian Kelly. Number 11, Ryan Day. Number 10, Chris Peterson. Now, everyone from here on out, 9 through 1, are national championship winners. Number 9, Mac Brown. Number 8, Jim Harbaugh. He's a national championship winner, at least for now. Number 7, Jim Tressel. Number 6, Bob Stoops. Number 5, Dabo Sweeney. Number 4, Kirby Smart. And number 3, Pete Carroll. Number 2, Urban Meyer. Number 1, you guessed it, it is Mel Tucker. No, it's Nick Saban for number 1. Now, this is where my big argument for why Mark Dantonio should be a little higher, maybe, ahead of like a guy like Mark Richt, for example, who was a solid coach, obviously, coached at Georgia and Miami. They list his accomplishments: 2 SEC championships, 8 top 10 finishes. That is incredible. But my main talking point is that Mark did his work largely on the backs of like 3-star players, diamonds in the rough, which us as Michigan State fans have learned in the last few years, if you pay attention to recruiting, is just how hard it is to get at an elite championship level with that kind of recruiting. Now, of course, Mark Dantonio was the guy that recruited those players. Like, it was kind of, not his fault, but his doing, his strategy as to, how he built his program here. But if you're Mark Richt, I'm sorry, Georgia and Miami, kind of a recruiting hotbed. Just saying. James Franklin at Penn State, and yes, he did do fine at Vanderbilt, 2 top 25 finishes at Vanderbilt, which is amazing. Penn State, have they ever had an issue recruiting at a very high level with some good resources? So would I put Mark Dantonio in the top 10? Depends if you get me in a good mood at a tailgate, maybe. But no, in reality, I'd probably slot him at let's call 18th or 17th. Yes, I understand the tail end of his career didn't go too well. But it's not like I'm talking about flash in the pan seasons here that he had. Like, oh, it was just that one Rose Bowl. No. Like 2011, people forget. Really awesome year. 2012, okay, it took a slight dip, but 2013, one of the top 5 best teams in the nation. 2014, one of the top 5 best teams in the nation. 2015, college football playoff berth, one of the top 5 best teams in the nation. Like, that is a 5-year run that really, where else have you seen that with all the coaches even in front of him? Like, yes, you have seen it with some of those guys, but, oh, man, the guys that you saw it with had just some loaded rosters from the start of their careers, whereas Dantonio, they had to develop, they had to identify, and I think that's really impressive for a coach. So, look, you're never going to catch me talking bad about Mark Dantonio. Love that guy like a family member. So, hey, he got credit. Should be thrilled, but of course, hey, we always got chips on our shoulder here being Michigan State fans. I think it should have been a little better. So, guys, let me know what you think. Reach out to us, lockedonspartans@gmail.com, just like our guy Greg did, because he's the guy that brought this article to our attention here. So thanks a lot to Greg. All right, guys. Now, thanks a lot to all you guys that listen, that tuned in. If you guys are missing basketball talk, we're going to get to it tomorrow. That's right. It's going to be a fun guest here. Don't want to spoil it. It's someone that's been on the show many a times here. It's Greg Waddell. I'm just going to spoil it right now, guys. But, guys, stay tuned for tomorrow's basketball talk. Plenty more football talk coming down the pike, including, yes, of course, recruiting talk. But until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go Green.